drivers, welcome back to Haptic Garage, where we focus on the everyday hobby mechanic using the right techniques and reasons to keep the project alive so you can drive your dream. Today we've got a few problems. We'd really like to be working on Dweezil and our VW Run 22 goals, but we've got the aftermath of a hurricane. And what that means to us today is, one, we've got a big mess in the yard, so we're going to push away our project for just a little bit, maintain this chainsaw, cut up a few limbs that are on the ground out there, and get the yard cleaned up. Second, we sprung a bunch of leaks in the Mosey home, and that's a big part of what we do here at Haptic Garage, believe it or not, and I think it'll have an even bigger role as we move forward. For now, it's great to go to VW shows in this thing, and it needs to be taken care of. A leak in an RV can be massively destructive if you let it go for too long, right? So we're not going to play around with this. We're going to get the Mosey home resealed so that we don't have any water coming in and eating away this thing that allows us to do so much with Haptic Garage. In fact, that's where our power is coming from right now. So if that doesn't tell you how important the Mosey home is, I don't know what does. So let's not waste any more time. Let's just get to it so we can get back here in the garage doing the thing that we really love and moving towards our VW Run 22 goal, to have Dweezil back on the road and towable behind the Mosey home. It's gonna be a good time, and I don't think we're really all that far away. So here we go. I was just taking a second to catch up on some comments. So just a big shout out to Vintage76, Viper Green, Zim's VW Garage, Max's VW Garage, Slade's VW Beetle, Robert Lambert, High Ridge Jumper, David Ryan, VW Beetle Oval 1955, Dub World VW Adventures, JW Classic VW, VW Jawbreaker, and the Whitetail Rancher. So far, amazing. Thanks so much everyone for your positive comments, and Rody says thanks too. All right, back to work. Not exactly what I'd call pretty firewood or good firewood, but it does give me an idea. I'm guessing everybody has seen the lump charcoal video by now. It's for realsies, I actually do that. You look around the edge here and you can see combustible gases coming out of the kiln. Of course, the fire surrounding it is igniting those gases. You get little flashes of it coming out of the smokestack up here. Same thing, combustible gases. Some folks have figured out how to run a vehicle on wood, and I'm not talking about a steam-powered vehicle. They get those combustible gases to come out of the wood, and that's what goes down into the combustion chamber. I can't imagine that it would be worthwhile, but it does, however, serve as a great way to get rid of a bunch of hurricane yard trash. I'm going to be on fire watch for the rest of the night just to be safe, and then maybe tomorrow we'll get a chance to take a look at the seals on the RV. As soon as we can get that done and get it out of the way, we can start looking towards sandblasting all of those materials for the car. Good morning, everyone. We're one cup of coffee into this, and I think I have an idea on what the seal issue is going to be. Let's go take a look. This window was the worst, and you can see I've already removed some, but I have some sealant here that's pretty cracked and old that had just come loose down here. So I think all the water was just going into that channel. There's a rubber gasket in there, but it can only do so much. So we're going to redo the sealant along here. It's also coming in here. This frame doesn't come totally together, so we'll clean this out and reseal. Here's the other window. Removed a little bit here, but the same issue. There's another issue that came up. These are little drain holes, because water does get in there, even with brand new seals. Water gets in there, and these drain holes give it a way out. There's a felt channel that the window slides in. Those get old, but they have a hole in the bottom of them. You actually have to cut that hole in the bottom yourself when you replace them, and that gets clogged up. So I've gone through and unclogged those like during the storm, but I'm going to go through and check them all again. So hopefully you can get a few more years out of the channel that's in there. And one other issue I found, this is an Airstream based vehicle, and we're missing a rivet, so there's a hole in the body. That'll allow some water to get in. So we're going to replace that rivet. The roof of the RV is a whole nother question. There's a lot of rivets up there and they're probably fine, but I like to have a dab of sealant on all of those just to be sure. And by now all that needs to be replaced too. But in the future, we're going to be putting solar up there. So I'll probably combine that project with resealing, repainting the roof, then building the apparatus that will hold all the solar panels up there. We're going to try and fit 1200 watts on top of this RV. We'll see. But I'm going to do what we've already described, and for another day when we don't have priorities in front of it, we might have a big solar project that'll be a lot of fun. My weapon of choice is a rectangular razor blade, which I have, but all of my holders are worn out. So we're going to make a quick trip to the hardware store. Hopefully by the time we come back, the power's on. I just got a good feeling about today. And we'll do some resealing and see where we are at the end of the day. This is the first look that I've gotten at the surrounding area, and there is some flooding out here. Once again, I was pretty fortunate. The way my property is, it's not perfect, but it doesn't flood, it drains. Some of these other places around me, not so lucky. This experience, among other things, has shown me that we consume a ton of electricity without even thinking about it. I've basically been living on what amounts to one branch circuit, rotated large appliances based on my capacity, and it really shows that you can conserve when you need to. It's a little bit reassuring, really, that when it hits the fan like this, that you can get by on a shoestring. A lot of the stuff that we use every single day, we actually don't need. It's nice, and I'll be happy to go back to all that as soon as the power's back on, but you can do just fine and still live a productive life without all the stuff that we have. Had bad experiences with some of these having been sprayed before, and of course that means that the tip is all clogged up, so I'm in the habit of checking every one of them. Now that I'm back, I found the one that I like and have had a long time. So here's what it looks like. This RV was actually kind of a prototype. Airstream made it, but they badged it as an Argosy, aka a painted Airstream. And I've found a bunch of things like this where they just had not figured out how to do this yet. It wasn't made to maintain. And so I've had to come up with a bunch of stuff like that to keep this old RV alive. Kind of like a hot rodder would just make it work. This is a Chevy chassis, an Airstream coach, and I found Mustang, like Ford Mustang parts in the dash. They just used whatever was available. And so it's an interesting project. Much more of a production than working on a VW. For anybody curious, this is the stuff that I'm using for sealant. This Volcom 116, that might be kind of an Airstream thing. It's a polyurethane deal, right? We don't want silicone here. Like most caulking that you might do, I think the secret to making this job easy and decent is how much you put on in the first place. Not too much, not too little. And if you can get that exactly right, smoothing out the bead and feathering it out goes so much smoother. Very important with this stuff, because while it's really great stuff, it is not easy to work with. It'll self-level and all that, but the actual application is kind of a pain in the butt. So I have a lot of paper towels handy. I stuff one in each pocket and then go to town. Let me see if I can show you. This went really well through here, but down here I messed it up a little bit, so I would expect that this is going to take more cleanup, even after I feather the bead out. Let's see. So I have a little much. You see it's coming across the top there. Here I did better. There's not as much sitting on top of the metal there. Yeah, not enough there. Too much leading up to it. So yeah, making a big mess here. Here's the part where it gets all over me. One last thing that I want to do today before we run out of daylight is to deal with this rivet issue. Now, if we look at all the other rivets on this vehicle, they're all solid rivets. They're all like this. This is a solid rivet. But the problem with the solid rivet is you have to have access to the back of it. You put a bucking bar back there, and that's what the rivet smushes against and holds everything in place. And that's great. That's a great way to do stuff if you have access to the back. A pop rivet you can do from one side. So you just throw the thing in there, pop the thing off, and you're good to go. But the problem with a standard pop rivet is you still have a hole in the middle, and then I wouldn't really be solving my problem, right? So I have what's called an Olympic rivet. It's going to work a little different. It's going to allow me, with a little bit of work, to end up with a solid looking top and no leaks, no big hole in the middle like a regular pop rivet. Doesn't look like it, but watch close. Now this stem is so long, I have to put some spacers in here. That's not the cool part. The trick is to cut off what's left of this and then to file it nice and smooth. It's such a tight fit with the hole in the rivet that you end up not being able to tell that there's a hole in it at all. So let's make that happen. There's actually a bit that does this nice and easy, but it's very expensive. And there you have it, a phony solid rivet. Okay, I think that does it for me today. There'll be some more coming. I'm enjoying this, and there's tons of work to do. I think tomorrow things get to be a little bit more fun, because if we're not working on Dweezil, we're at least a whole lot closer to doing that. So we'll see what tomorrow holds, but until then, get out in your garage, get a little bit done, and I'll see you in the next video.